Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 11th annual Sylvia Band Members Grove Tree Planting Celebration. It is hard to believe that 11 years have sped by since we first planted a young tree in our grove, and we're going to share with you over the next short while some of the history and some of the symbols that this tree represents to our community. I would like to welcome everybody. Steve Caldwell, our Executive Director. Larissa Levitch, our Program Director. Tara Fleming-Caruso, our Collaborative Care Advisor. Nancy Vega, our Program Administrator. Michael Ross, our NUMA President. Frankie Wolf, representing our original members, and Helene Kenigsberg, representing newer members. I also want to introduce David Rader, who isn't on the screen with us today, but is with us in thought and certainly in preparations. So, without further ado, I call on Steve.
Well, hello, everybody. Like everything during this pandemic, it's always a little bit challenging to reimagine how we actually do something that is so traditional as the planting of a tree in the Sylvia Band Members Grove. And this year is no different. And so I would be remiss if I didn't thank every single person on this call for the parts that you're playing to help in this celebration. I also want to thank all of you that are watching this, because it is part of our tradition. And although it's unusual for us to be doing the things that we're doing here, I still feel so connected to the community and to everyone who's involved in this. And if you think about it, that's exactly what Sylvia Band had in mind when she came up with the idea of creating the Grove. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but it is a very important part of our fabric here at NewBridge. And I'm just so thankful that you're all joining me in this celebration. Thank you.
Now, Tara.
I have the honor of reading this poem by our friend and member, Rita Fireman. It's called Trees of Life. I have always loved trees. My first love was the apple tree in the backyard of my childhood home. On one of its outstretched arms, my father hung clothesline ropes, and he drilled 2 holes in a wooden board to make a swing. With a big push, I leaped the bounds of earth, swinging up, up, and singing, "Oh, how I like to go up in the air." I have always loved trees. In the backyard of my Newton home, 7 pine trees formed a living fence. In winter, the trees wore a white mantle, and the wind blew showers of snow. The children made a snowman with a carrot nose and charcoal eyes. In the August heat, the dark green fronds made an awning above our picnic table. In the cool of its shade, we sat and we ate the all-American barbecue. I have always loved trees. And now in my home at NewBridge on the Charles, there stands on the green a century-old copper beech tree. A magnificent circumference of spreading arms sweeps the ground around us. We watch each other. We grow old together. I will always love trees. Today on this hill, the NewBridge family plants a tree of love and remembrance. A tree of hope in a time of peril, a tree of faith in a time of uncertainty, and a tree of life to flower our dreams and wishes into the future.
Thank you so much for reading that beautiful poem so beautifully, and thank you, Rita Fireman, for composing such a beautiful poem. Every time I hear it, I just feel like, wow, I can so relate, and it's so beautiful. Thank you, thank you. It is our tradition at these annual celebrations to call upon members of our community to share with us their perspective. Michael Ross, our NILMA president, will speak now.
It's a real pleasure to be here today on this very special occasion. We moved into the NewBridge community approximately 4 years ago this month. One of the features of this community that has been so important and so valuable to us is just this sense of community which permeates everything we do and all of our activities. This past year, of course, has been, the last 4 months, 5 months, has been particularly difficult with the coronavirus, with COVID. But at the same time, we've been able to see the community come together in an important way. One of the things I've enjoyed most in the last few months is that all of the difficulties have forced us to be more observant of the nature around us, of the beauty of the plants, and in particular, the grove of redbud trees, which Irina will be telling us more about in a little while. It's a real pleasure, and we have a deep debt of gratitude to those who've come before us, planted these trees, and continue to do this wonderful thing.
And what a good segue. You said those who came before you. That, of course, has many possible interpretations, but in the literal sense here, those who came to NewBridge before you include our pioneer residents, and Frankie Wolf will now, as a pioneer resident, share her knowledge of this this grove and how it came about. Frankie was one of the very first residents to move in to NewBridge. Frankie.
Come with me as we roll back the years to approximately November 2009, when NewBridge on the Charles was barely more than a few months old, and Sylvia Bann, a woman of ideas and resolve, was the first president of NILMA. At an early Jewish Life Committee meeting, Rabbi Judy remembers that I suggested we, as new residents, plant a tree to commemorate Tu B'Shvat, the Jewish holiday that honors trees. I only remember Sylvia wanted the tree to be native to Israel, since Tu B'Shvat is celebrated in Israel with the planting of trees. Fortunately, we came together, deciding upon a redbud tree, a tree popular in the mountainous regions of Israel. Actually, we decided to plant 13 trees, one planted each year until we would celebrate our B'nai Mitzvah year, the year of reaching maturity in the Jewish life cycle. Following Sylvia's presidency, Peter Helfand became NILMA's second president, and I believe it was Peter who suggested honoring Sylvia by naming our grove of trees after Sylvia Bann. Thank you.
Thank you, Frankie. I love recalling those early days, and indeed, those were visionaries who came up with an idea, and now here we are in our 11th year, which at that time seemed so far away, and soon we'll be reaching our Bar Mitzvah year. And on the other end of our membership, in the sense of time, one of our newer members, Helene Koenigsberg, will share her perspective as a relative newcomer to life at NewBridge.
Hi, my husband Alan and I moved to NewBridge just a year ago in May. After living in New Hampshire in our home for 50 years, it was not a decision that we took lightly. We visited several life care communities, mostly in New Hampshire, before deciding on NewBridge. The other communities were very nice, but NewBridge felt comfortable, like home. When we walked through the front door, it felt warm and welcoming, like we belonged. Having friends who lived here helped with our decision. The residents, staff, and that we met during our many visits always were very helpful and friendly and just made us feel very good. Once we moved in, we were immediately invited to join various residents for dining and several committees and book clubs and movie groups of Hadassah, etc. I feel humbled learning of the accomplishments of many of the residents here. I cannot begin to tell you how fortunate I feel to be living here, especially since the COVID-19 outbreak. We've been very well cared for. The staff has gone out of its way to provide meal delivery and entertainment. The exercise classes that took place in the gym and the yoga studio have been converted to video and shown on the NewBridge channel twice a day. Courses, lectures, concerts, ballet, plays, opera, and more are all offered on the NewBridge channel and keep our minds and bodies active, especially during this stressful time. Now that the weather is nice, we can go outside for walks and meet friends with masks and proper distancing. As we walk past the lovely Sylvia Band Members Grove, on our way to and from the cottages, I was amazed by the lovely buds on these beautiful trees, one planted each year to commemorate Tu B'Shvat, and another year in the life of NewBridge on the Charles. The grounds are magnificent here. If you haven't seen the courtyard, you're missing a real treat. I have a raised bed plot in the community garden, and this year I'm looking forward to homegrown tomatoes, eggplant, pepper, and cucumber. It has been probably 35 years since I have had a last vegetable garden. The opportunities here are endless. Thank you all, residents and staff, for welcoming us to be part of this community.
Thank you so much, Helene, for your wonderful words. And it's a great pleasure to have you as part of our community.
Yes, I couldn't agree more with you, Rabbi Judy. I am truly honored to have been invited to participate in such a deep tradition for NewBridge. So due to COVID-19 and our inability to be together to witness this in person, I took the liberty of, or I had the pleasure rather, of recording and witnessing the momentous occasion with Arena. So without further ado, I give you the 2020 tree planting.
You're down in trouble and you need some love and care, and nothing, oh nothing is going right. It's right. Close your eyes and feel soon I will be there to brighten up even the darkest night. You just call my name and you know wherever I am I'll come running to see you again. in. Oh, come running, 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 to see you again, to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you need to do is follow me. I won't hurt you, 'cause hurt you won't leave you won't be. Ain't it good to know you got a friend? I won't desert you. I'll never desert you. I'll never leave you, 'cause you ain't good, you ain't You've got a friend. You got a friend. You got a friend. You got a friend. Do you got a friend?
Our redbud trees has become our friends, and they bring us so much joy year after year after year. But what do we know about these beautiful trees? The history behind their origin? Fortunately, we have a botanist on our team, and Irina is happy to share with us her knowledge and love of plants. Hi, Irina.
Hi everyone, I'm thrilled to be a part of this NewBridge tradition of planting this grove of members trees. And I'm relatively new here, and I didn't know why these particular trees were chosen for this tradition. So I did my little research, and I figured out that way we can be connected with Israel directly through these trees. Well, the story is that the trees are called redbud here in the United States and Canada, but they have a different name in Europe. There is a similar species that looks just like our redbud, but they call it Judas tree, believe it or not. According to all four Gospels of the New Testament, Judas Iscariot hanged himself off this tree in remorse after his betrayal of Jesus. But even though the Testament said so, this is an example how the legend was developed in order to match the name of the tree, because Judas tree is actually a corruption. It's a corrupted Judea's tree. So if you look at the European redbud, which is called Cercis silicastrum, that's its area in Europe, and you see that it is stretched all over eastern part of Europe, from France, that's this green part. I'm looking at the green part now. And it's stretched from France all the way to Israel. But this is a species that is closely related to our redbud, although it is not the same species. The genus is the same. This is Cercis, the genus Cercis, but the species is different. Our Cercis here in North America is called Cercis canadensis. So for a long time I thought it was from Canada, or at least its territory includes Canada, but this is actually not right. The name Cercis canadensis is actually a misleading misnomer. They call it a misnomer. That means a wrong name. Because if you look at the map of Cercis canadensis, it hardly reaches any Canadian territory. It just goes all the way north to Great Lakes, but it doesn't reach any area in Canada. And also, I want to pay your attention, bring your attention to the fact that it doesn't reach Massachusetts either. So it is a great American tree with a great area, but it's not native to anywhere in New England. So anyway, it's a very beautiful, nice tree. And you know that why it is called the red bud? It flowers very beautifully in spring before leaves. The flowers, when they open, they are beautiful magenta color. And so we have been enjoying these trees early in spring, at the beginning and middle of May. But now they have produced this nice foliage, and each leaf looks like a little heart. So in a way it is symbolic too. The shape of these leaves reminds of peace and love, and I'm inviting you to observe these nice little trees all year round, starting from spring and into the fall and winter. Thank you for your attention.
I would like to thank everybody who planned and participated in this celebration today. David Rader, who made many of the arrangements, although we don't see him here at the moment. He was sorry not to be able to be here. And Tara, Larissa, Nancy Vega, and Irina, Michael, Frankie, and Helene, and Steve. Thank you, everybody, for being here, for participating, and for being part of our celebration. I would like us to close, we will now close our celebration with a very inspiring musical video that Tara found for us. At this time during COVID, there have been so much creativity that we never would have thought of before. And this video that we're about to watch is it's called Aussie Pops, which is the Australian pop orchestra, and they will be performing What a Wonderful World. They recorded it during coronavirus time, and you'll see that as they come together in their different spaces all over, probably all over Sydney, but perhaps other parts of Australia, although they're in separate spaces, just like us on the screen, they are one cohesive and beautiful source of music and joy. So I hope you will enjoy listening to them. And thank you again, everybody.
I see trees of green and red roses too. I see a blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, dark sacred night. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And how rainbow so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends not shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I